After 30 years in the same Ventura County home, a couple recently told me they made a $43,000 mistake in their very first week on the market. And honestly, their situation isn't rare. I hear stories like this all the time from long-term homeowners who try to move quickly and then realize just how emotional and complicated it really is. The Prop 13 tax jump, the overwhelming decluttering, the pressure to rush. After helping dozens of families in Ventura and LA County make these transitions, I started noticing the same 5 mistakes over and over again. And mistake number 4, that one shocks almost everyone. Let's walk through them. The first mistake I hear about is simple but costly: trying to list within 30 days of deciding to sell. Here's the pattern. Something changes, maybe retirement, a health scare, kids are pushing for a move, and the family feels like they need to take action immediately. One Ventura County couple told me they listed within 3 weeks. Their home had 30 years of belongings, photos, furniture, and a packed garage. The buyer feedback that they got: it feels too personal. We can't really envision ourselves here. And the data backs this up. Homes in Ventura County that hit the market too fast usually sell for less, sometimes anywhere between 7 to 12% less. On a typical $700,000 sale, that can mean losing $50,000 to $80,000 simply because the house wasn't ready. A healthier approach is a 90-day plan. Let's start with month 1. I suggest decluttering and depersonalizing the home. Take it one step at a time. I always say one room at a time. Month number 2 is where you're going to start to do some repairs, some painting, some very small updates. And then month number 3 is where we'll come in and we'll have professional photos done. We'll get the accurate pricing for the home and we will launch the marketing. I know that sounds long, but it removes pressure and typically adds tens of thousands of dollars to your net. And mistake number 2, it hits people financially in a way that they didn't expect: taxes. This one surprises almost every long-term homeowner I talk to. People are assuming I'm downsizing, so my property taxes will go down as well. Well, not always. If you bought your Ventura County home in the 90s, your tax bill is probably based on that old assessed value plus some small annual increases. Maybe you're paying around $2,500 to $3,800 a year on taxes. But when you sell that home for $850,000 and buy a smaller home for, let's say, $600,000, well, then your new taxes reset. That $600,000 home comes with a tax bill around $6,000 a year. I've had families reach out after moving, shocked because they never planned for that jump. Here's the easy rule of thumb. You're going to calculate your new purchase price times 1%. That equals the annual tax. If you're over 55, then check if Prop 19 lets you transfer your old tax base. It can make a massive difference, but you have to understand it before making the move. Now we move into the emotional side, and this is the one that can quietly stall people for months. Mistake number 3 is the one most people don't see coming: understanding just how emotional this process really is. Selling a home after 20, 30, even 40 years is nothing like a normal real estate transaction. These walls watched your family grow. The holidays, the birthdays, the good moments, and the difficult ones. Every room carries its own story. A widow in Oxnard once shared with me that she tried 4 different times to start packing on her own. And every time she ended up stopping. She told me, "This isn't just a house. This is my life in boxes." And that is something I hear often, whether someone is downsizing or clearing out an inherited home. That's why the emotional side needs just as much attention as the physical work. And over the years, I found 3 phases that make this process so much more manageable. The first phase: before touching a single closet or cabinet, take the time to document the home. Walk through with your phone, take pictures, record a video. Talk about the stories that come up for you. This gives you a chance to honor the memories and acknowledge the life lived in that home. And this is also where I love recommending digital photo frames to share and display photos, since they help you preserve the memories without needing to hold on to every physical item when you're downsizing. For families who are cleaning out an inherited property, this is such a gentle way to keep the memories close without being overwhelmed by the boxes and the clutter and all the furniture. This step brings clarity, comfort, and a sense of grounding before moving into the more challenging decisions. Phase number 2. This is where most people get stuck because they start in the hardest rooms. They jump straight into a bedroom filled with memories. That's overwhelming, even for the strongest families. Start with the easy wins: pantry items, old spices, books, linens, office supplies, things that don't carry heavy emotion. Once these categories are done, you feel a shift. Okay, I can do this. But it starts to build real momentum. And when you finally step into those more sentimental spaces, you're walking in with more confidence and a system, not stress. This matters tremendously when you're downsizing or handling inherited property because the emotional weight can build quickly. And then for phase number 3, when you do reach the sentimental items, keep it simple. One memory box per family member. If something truly matters, it goes in the box. If it doesn't fit, it usually isn't essential for the next chapter. This is where families often feel the most emotional relief. You get to honor the memories, keep the most meaningful pieces, and still allow yourself to release the rest. It's a peaceful way to move forward without feeling like you're abandoning anything. Most families tell me that by the end of these 3 phases, they feel lighter, clearer, and so much more prepared mentally and emotionally to take the next step in their move. Now, mistake number 4, the one that costs people the most upfront. This one can get expensive very quickly. Long-term homeowners often think, our kitchen is old, we should remodel it before we sell. And then they spend $30,000 or $40,000 thinking it's going to add that much in value. But in Ventura County, major remodels really give a full return. For example, kitchen remodels typically return around 62% of what you put in. So if someone spends $35,000, they're only adding about $21,000 in value. That means $14,000 lost before the home ever hits the market. Here's where the best returns actually come from. Where you're going to get the best return on your investment is going to be adding things like fresh neutral paint, deep cleaning and carpet cleaning, refresh the landscape, and do some small repairs. Where you're going to see a lower return on your investment or maybe even a negative return are going to be things like a full kitchen remodel, full bathroom remodel, new floors throughout, adding in a pool. For most long-term owned homes, the sweet spot is $5,000 to $8,000 in prep, not $40,000. And mistake number 5 is the one that affects your happiness after the move. Here's something people don't think about until they've already moved. You can fall in love with a property and still feel completely disconnected once you're living there. When you've been in the same neighborhood for decades, everything is familiar. Your doctors, the grocery store, neighbors, walking routines, your own routine. I've talked to homeowners who downsized into a beautiful condo in a new city and then realized they felt so isolated because everything that they were used to was suddenly far away. So before choosing your next home, ask yourself, do I want to stay near my friends or a support system? Maybe do I want a 55 plus community or something more traditional? How close do I need to be to medical care? Do I want more walkability? Is this my forever home or a stepping stone? Thinking about these things ahead of time makes your transition much smoother. If you're starting to think about selling a long-term home in Ventura or LA County, or just want to explore your options without any pressure, you can schedule a call with me or a team member using the link in the description. We help families all over Ventura County, LA County, and we also have a nationwide referral network. So if you're relocating out of state, we can help you too. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, click here for my video on the emotional side of downsizing and click here for the hidden home hazards every senior should know about. Make sure to subscribe for more guidance on senior moves and inherited homes.